Things are not looking too good for Bitcoin at the moment, and the cryptocurrency has lost quite a lot of value in the past 2 weeks. But very soon we could be reaching the bottom of the Bitcoin price decline, and we might see some rising prices again. More on that after the intro. Hello and welcome to another video here at Bloomberg Capital. My name is Henrik, and today we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin. And if we jump into the chart here, then we can see that we had quite a big sell-off here. From the top all the way to the bottom here, about 18%. But I think the part that caused the most headaches here was this big sell-off here, where in a very short amount of time, we sold off 14%. Especially for those investors who tried to do leveraged long trades on Bitcoin here. This was very painful. A lot of people got liquidated and a lot of people lost a lot of money. But at the end of the day, if we look at it in the grand scheme of things, it's not looking too dire. And we are really still in this big sideways phase here. But there are a lot of investors who are very worried that we will leave the sideways phase here and actually continue to trend down as we have done here very strongly into basically nothingness. But that really shouldn't happen. And if we add our analysis on top here, then we can try to figure out what's going to happen. Because right now, actually, this here should be an intermediate bottom here, and price should come up a little bit. Now, this shouldn't be the final bottom here, but price should come up a little bit. And actually, while cryptos are on the rise again, at least a little bit, precious metals like, for example, silver and gold have been selling off. So some liquidity from these markets is coming back into crypto, which previously in this big sell-off here has left crypto and went into the precious metals. And probably we will see some investors getting hope here again, trying to get in here. But most likely we will see one last big sell-off that will bring us all the way down here, which will then be the final bottom. And most likely we will find this bottom around the $100,000 mark, which is obviously a very significant psychological level. And most likely a lot of Bitcoin investors will be losing their hope around the bottom of this, especially if we dip below the $100,000 mark. And we most likely will dip below it, but only for a very short amount of time. And will most likely rise above it again pretty soon and then continue to rise again. And as I said already, there will probably be a lot of investors who will try to jump back in here. And there will probably be a lot of investors who will get back out down here. Especially if we go below the $100,000 mark, there will most likely be a lot of investors who are saying, oh no, we're back below the $100,000 mark. It's over for Bitcoin. I'm out. And this is exactly where then big investors will come in and scoop up all of this Bitcoin before we rise to the top again. And if we look at the timing of this low, then we will most likely see it towards the end of October or the beginning of November. And this data is significant, especially if we look at what caused this decline up here, especially this very strong one. And a major contributor to the sell-off, especially the one that made it this big, was Trump's new policies concerning the trade war with China. Because big tariffs are on the table again, and it seems like there's another escalation coming, as we already saw in the beginning of the year. Obviously, this caused a lot of investors to panic a bit because they are worrying about a slowing economy, maybe even an economic collapse, at least for a short while. And now, right here, towards the end of October and the beginning of November, is when the APEC meeting will be. And there, Trump and Xi Jinping will meet each other and actually discuss the terms of these trade wars. And most likely, because both sides don't really have an invested interest to escalate again, as they already did in the beginning of the year, they will most likely find some solution and move past it, which will most likely stop most of the panic that investors have, who will then gleefully jump back into the market. But if you wait too long, you will most likely miss it and jump in too late. So you should be paying attention towards the end of the month and as you reach this level down here. Now, if you look at the upside, then we will most likely jump from this lower trend line here back to this upper trend line, as we are currently in a big structure here that has been going on for about a year. And the upper target here will most likely be around the $130,000 mark, which then means if we are going from 100,000 to 130,000, that will be a 30% increase, which will hopefully be enough to make up for any losses made during this decline here. But if you have further interest in making sure you do not miss this low here, then you can check out the description below. There you'll find a link to our free Discord. And in there, you'll find analysis to over 180 assets, ranging from cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, which you currently actually cover daily, but also other assets like precious metals and stocks. So if you're interested, check it out below. In general, I hope this video was helpful, and until next time, here at Bloomberg Capital.